pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lord, for bringing us together one more time this year. And Lord, just continue to do your works throughout 2026. Guide them, use each of these people in a mighty way. Lord, lay your blessings on this city. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Roll call. Councilwoman Reeves is absent tonight, but all other council members are present and we have a quorum, so we will proceed with business. First up on business tonight is approval of the agenda. Does any council member have any questions on the agenda or any modifications to it as presented?
I move to accept.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. Citizen comments. Hearing no citizen comments tonight, we will proceed to our consent agenda. That includes the minutes of our November 17th meeting and appropriations ordinance 1305.
Move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda approved. All right, moving on to our regular items of business tonight. First up, continuation of a discussion we had last meeting, and that's looking at some proposed changes to our water rates.
After the last discussion, it was requested to look at what it would take basically to hit a break-even point on our water fund. So I put together an average of 2019 through 2024 expenses versus revenue, and the average is a loss of $17,500. Some years it's more, some years it's less. One thing I will note is last year's amount is greater, but we did do an end-of-year transfer to the reserve, so that does skew that number a little bit. I've also included our two possible rate increases that we could consider. Last meeting I presented a change to the base just to the minimum, but then I've also included a change to the minimum of a lesser amount and then a rate increase of 50 cents across each of the three classes. You'll remember we have three different water classes. We have residential, commercial, or residential, government, institutional, and then commercial, and then out of city residential. So those three different classes. I also, this afternoon, I handed you each one of these, kind of broke out what it would look like for some customers across the city. And these are actual numbers, you know, looking at some different homeowners and two different institutional customers and one commercial customer, and then two out-of-city residential. So our residential customers vary. We have some that use 1, 2, 3,000 a month. We have some that are higher, that are 20, 25 during the summer if they have irrigation on their lawns, for instance. But during the winter months, a lot of those taper off drastically and are using much less for a homeowner. So I broke out what a 5,000 gallon per month, 10,000 and 20,000 residential customer looks like. So you can see with our current rate structure how much that is a month. What it would look like with just the proposed increase to the minimum charge. So that's only $3.50 difference. But then with a lesser increase to the minimum and a 50 cents per thousand increase, you'll see how much per month we're talking. So for a 5,000 gallon per month customer, it's $4 a month. So it's not a huge increase, but that would give us approximately $34,000 in revenue. additional revenue by making that change, and I broke that out, it's in the packet. Moving to the institutional customers that I put in here, those are 2 much larger users per month. And you can see and these are an average, again, they vary month to month, especially during the summer months, depends on what kind of weather we have, like this summer we had a lot more rain, so it can vary, but you'll see there what that difference would look like. For that 400,000 gallon per month customer, that would be about $200 with the proposed minimum and the rate increase. But if we just did the minimum, it was $3.50, so not a lot of change there. You can look through all of those. I won't read it all to you, but wanted to give you an idea of some actual customers and what usage looks like across a wide variety from residential to commercial to outside the city limits, and what those changes, how they'd actually impact those users. So just bringing that information back for you to continue this conversation, and happy to take any questions.
Stacy, you mentioned that last year was kind of an outlier in that the water fund was $55,000
Yeah.
in the hole. You mentioned that was mostly due to a transfer out. Was that the only year we've done a transfer out of the water fund?
No, we have a budgeted transfer that we do every year of, I want to say it's $15,000. At the end of the year, we still had some budget authority in the water fund, and so I came to you to ask if we could move a little more to the reserve fund. Sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head how much that total was. We were still at a loss even without that transfer.
As we've been every year but one in the last
Correct.
5 or 6.
So that does skew that average a little bit because of that amount, but still you can look at the trend.
It's a typical year. Looks like we're losing 10 to 20,000-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had alluded to at last meeting that there might be a need, there's more infrastructure things possibly coming down, water lines needing replaced. At the rate that we're transferring out now, is that enough to fund some of those projects, or do we need to be more aggressive going forward to try to build some more reserves, more than the $15,000 a year?
Just small main breaks that we have now, we can handle that with the reserves we have, but if we start talking about blocks of line replacement, it's another story. And no, we're probably not saving enough to do a project like that. We had a water report done a study done in 2012, I think it was, by PEC, and they recommended that we look at replacing any service lines prior to 1995. And the EPA lead service line ruling, who knows what's going to be coming our way in the next 5 to 10 years. We don't have any lead service lines, so that's not a huge concern that we're going to have to go in and change some things out right away, but we know we do have some galvanized. So the short answer is no, I don't think so. If we had some large projects, we don't have the reserves to handle that.
My initial look at this is the rate increase only creates an extra $9,000 in revenue for the city. Am I reading that correct? Minimum increase generates about 26,000, and then the minimum increase plus the usage increase generates 34.
Right.
One thing to keep in mind is that the rate increase is generating more than that, because in that scenario, the minimum is going up a lot less than the other scenario.
Did I miss that? What's the minimum going up in the rate increase?
So it would go up $1.50 on the residential side, $2.50 on commercial, and $3 on outside the city. The residential government church is the largest class we have with 417 customers, commercial 52, and outside the city 19.
to see it go in the hole every year, but I also hate to scorch our customers with big increases.
Yeah, end of the day, it's a service we provide, need to provide, and we need to be able to,
I understand
Pay
that,
for it.
yeah, that's true, that's true, that's why I say I hate to see it going in the hole every year.
yeah. I guess my 2 cents is I'm probably in favor of doing the split, a small increase to the minimum and a small increase to the rate. Kind of split that up evenly so that our customers who don't use a lot of water, if we're just upping the minimum, they're paying for most of it. And I think doing it kind of splitting between the two is kind of a fair way to do it because, again, with a utility like this, usually it's the biggest users are having the biggest bill. That's just how it is. You use more electricity, your electricity bill's bigger. You use more water, your water bill's bigger. So my 2 cents would be that's probably the most fair way to do it. With those proposed increases and $34,000 extra a year, most years that should give us, basically get that fund's head above water, and maybe even give us a little more room to increase our annual transfers to the reserves for, just to save up money for those big projects which are going to come sooner or later.
With the split deal where the minimum won't be raised as much as if we just done the, okay, so if we use the split and say next year we looked at it and just not quite there, could we go ahead and add that other part of the split that we could have added this year on just the minimum?
Absolutely. I mean, that's up to us at the time, and probably it's going to be easier for our residents if we, ease into it as much as possible.
Ease into it or sneak it in there.
And one way you could look at it is if you wanted to be even more incremental than this, like you did the last time over the 5 years, it was a quarter on the rate per gallon over 5 years. So each year it went up a quarter, and then the minimum a little bit too. It wasn't 50 cents a quarter. I think both went up a quarter each time. Sometimes 50 cents.
I kind of think we need to take a little bit bigger step, as you have written down here, instead of doing a tiny increase. I feel like we might be a little bit behind the 8 ball. Once we get back on track, then we can look at, progressive steps to stay there.
Yeah, another way to look at it is, our cash balance in that fund is a little over half what it was 5 years ago. So, that's another sign that, might need to take some more immediate steps to stabilize it than, but again, just in principle, it's usually better to give people a little more time to ease into things, but we're not talking a huge increase as it is. But again, for our bigger customers, that's, some real money. That's for bigger institutional customers, that might be a couple $100 a month.
It looks to me like the combo is roughly 10% across the board, almost for everyone.
Yeah.
In institutionals are a little bit higher than that, but outside of that, it looks like it's about a 10% increase across the board. And if those reserves faster, so I agree with everything that's been said.
Well, council, any discussion as far as the water rates? Do we need a resolution to
It would be
change
an
those?
ordinance, so
Okay.
whatever your direction is, I would prepare that for the next meeting.
You need that in a motion.
I mean, probably don't need it, but it would be, that's fine.
So it's clear.
Yeah.
So I'd move to take the proposed minimum and the rate increases presented by Stacy.
I'd second that.
It's been moved and seconded to prepare an ordinance to adjust our water rates, to increase the minimum charge as well as a rate increase to stabilize our water fund. Any further discussion?
To be effective January 1.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would be part of it too.
Yes.
I guess it depends on billing. Doesn't
Yeah,
the building be ready by then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with January one.
Okay. To take effect on January 1st, 2026. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, and we will look forward to that ordinance at the next meeting, most likely.
This is about the water deal, but it's not about this. Do we meter all of the gallons of water that we pump?
Yes,
And how does it compare to number of gallons sold?
we have loss. I can't give you a percentage off the top of my head. We are required to submit annually reports to the state of what we pump, what we bill out, and so that there is loss there.
You know, when we had the old pool, we knew we always had a loss there.
Yeah.
And
And
I
we
didn't know
have-
whether we were still having that now that we don't have it.
We have loss in our lines, and so that kind of goes back to the conversation of future projects, that over time, as things deteriorate and that
Oh, sure.
water starts to bubble up into the surface, and we find out where those leaks are and make the repairs, but yeah, we do have loss.
I was
But
just
it's
curious.
not like one specific location,
No.
like what you're talking about, where we knew it was the
Sure.
pool.
Yeah,
There's not any like one specific, as far as I know.
it's in the whole system.
There-
Yeah,
There's probably more places than we know about, guaranteed.
the highway was one of those.
Yep, till they start to bubble to the surface,
But how do
and
we, until it comes to the surface,
you don't
we
know.
don't know?
Yep,
So how many gallons could that be? Not much.
That's why they monitor it.
I can give you a
Report it.
percentage.
I just was curious.
That's, yeah, it'd be good to know.
Any further discussion on our water system? Hearing no further discussion, we will proceed on to our next item of business. That's Resolution 2025-08, a cost of living adjustment for 2026 for city employees.
Again, a continuation from the last meeting, this would formally put into place the COLA that was discussed at the last meeting.
Council, we had a good discussion on that last meeting. Anyone have any further discussion to add before considering the resolution presented before council?
Make a motion to accept resolution 2025-08.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2025-08, implementing a COLA for 2026 for city employees. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-1. All right, final item of business is actually for the land bank. So we will suspend the meeting of the Greensburg City Council and convene as the land bank board to consider an application to purchase 302 South Maple from the land bank.
This property was purchased at the tax sale recently, and the neighboring property owner, Samidi and Asiri, I won't try to pronounce their last names because I'm sure I will not do it justice, have applied to purchase it. They plan to use it as a property extension to their adjoining property. I believe that he states in his application that he had been taking care of that property for quite a few years. He had been mowing it, really, I think, until the last year or so. But wants to clean it up further. There's some trees there that could use some attention. So he would like to purchase it, as it is adjoining the property they have there next door. Typically, parcels like this, buildable lots are sold for $300, but for non-buildable purposes, even though this is a buildable lot, like a yard expansion, they are sold for $10 per frontage foot. This is a 50-foot lot, so that would be $500. So that would be up to the land bank board to decide the purchase price, should you desire to sell it.
Land bank, any comments or discussion on the application to purchase 302 South Maple?
In the comment section, it states they will build a garage and or shed. So would that make it more along the lines of the $300 mark?
right? For buildable purposes, yeah.
And this is also a lot we recently purchased for $5, correct?
Plus the $34 filing fee.
And this gentleman's been, sounds like he's been mowing it, taking care of it anyway.
He had been, yes.
I'd say we make it his.
Yeah.
I'd move to sell this property to them for $300, and I know we have to follow a process, so as far as listing it correct.
Right. We'll advertise it for 30 days and then make the transaction.
I'm excited to see that they're gonna build something on it too, because when the land bank gives up something and there's not gonna be property developed on it, it doesn't make it taxable infrastructure on there, so this kinda checks both boxes.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the sale of 302 South Maple for $300. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. Any further business for the land bank tonight? Will you-
The 30 days on the Kishpop 3 properties, I don't know, I think I mentioned last time maybe, has it elapsed? And so with this one going through, that'll be 4 out of the 8 that we will be rid of already.
And just a reminder, I don't think it's any properties the city will be interested in bidding on, but the properties that did not sell at the previous tax sale, they will be trying to be sold again, December 11th at 10 a.m. That it does include a few properties here in Greensburg, so if you know anyone might be interested, might be able to get the property very cheaply. Yep, next Thursday.
I've had people in my office mention it this time, that now they've caught on to, that there are sales and there are interested parties now. So hopefully you'll get
And
all sold.
also, hopefully to help it out, we did post this time the website, not just the legal description, but also a map showing where all those properties are, just to give people a better idea of what. So go to the CowaCountyKS.gov website, you'll be able to see all the properties. There's I think 3 in Greensburg, 1 in Haviland, and 2 in Wellsford. Did not sell last time. So with that, business concluded, we will adjourn the meeting of the Greensburg Land Bank, reconvene as the Greensburg City Council, and that does bring us to the end of our items of business tonight. So we move along to city staff reports.
Last Saturday, if you were here in town, it was a great day with state football. Thanks to all the volunteers that helped. It's a great day to see our community come together to put that on, even with the cold temperatures. That part was a little miserable, but other than that, it was a good day, and I hope that our local businesses saw some increased traffic because of it. Our crew has Christmas lights put up on Main Street, and still need to go put the timers on, but those will hopefully be lit up tomorrow evening. You may have noticed sitting here, or if you came in the front door, some music playing, or if you've been on Main Street. The project Heather and the Tourism Board have been working on for quite a while now to have music on Main Street has come to fruition as of last Wednesday, I think it was. So now when you're downtown, there is some Christmas music playing. It's a subscription-based service that she has an app on her phone. It's not running 24/7. You can do some scheduling with it. You can change the radio stations that are playing. So a lot of flexibility there. And just to mark your calendar for Sunday, this 14th at 6 p.m. is the Community Lighted Christmas Parade with the Youth Corps Ministry Soup Supper afterwards. An update on the airport utilities project. It's hopefully going to be wrapping up soon. We need to file with the state on the water well, a report by the end of the year. And I did confirm that the cleanup and the grading will get done before they're out of here. So I am very much looking forward to wrapping up this project that we've been working on for years and to get the grant closed out on it. So this week on Wednesday through Friday, I'll be attending the annual Kansas Association of City County Managers Conference. It'll be in Emporia this year. And then next Friday is KPP's annual membership meeting where they will go over and approve the budget and rates for next year for KPP. That's all I have.
Questions for Stacy? Hearing no questions for staff, do we have any governing body comments tonight? Hearing none of those, that does bring us to the end of our meeting tonight. So we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thanks for your time, everybody.